Well, I can certainly say I don't think a lot of us saw this coming. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, but no time like the present, I guess. I wanted to do this video a couple days ago, but unfortunately I was pretty sick, actually. I just didn't... I felt like absolute garbage. So I apologize for being a little late on this, but in case you haven't heard over the weekend, last week, Bungie announced that they have started the process of splitting with Activision and keeping the Destiny license for themselves. Now, whether or not that's going to affect Destiny 2 right now, we'll see. I don't think it will. I think that it's going to affect more Destiny 3, and I have a bunch of bullet points here, that little things I want to kind of get my thoughts on, get my thoughts out there, what I think about all this and what I think it means for the future of the franchise. Now, if you hear a bunch of like jump cuts, that's just me having to cut the audio out because I haven't done one of these videos in a little bit while, so I could probably stammer over my words. I might just have spaces in between of it and a lot of ums, because usually when I do these kind of talking points and when I talk to my friends, I'll sometimes stammer, I'll sometimes repeat myself even. So if you do hear any pauses or anything, any sudden cuts or anything, that's just me having to edit the audio. So I hope that doesn't bother you too much, and I hope that you enjoy my thoughts. Let's get right into it. So, what does this mean overall for the future of the franchise? I think right now it's very much in a wait and see. As I said before, I don't personally think we're going to see the major effects of this until Destiny 3. I think that Destiny 2 is going to continue forward kind of under the Activision umbrella, so to speak, especially with the annual pass. I think that I'm pretty sure that Joker's Wild and Penumbra are still going to be under, and if there is going to be a major fall expansion this year, that I think still will be under the Activision umbrella. I don't think that there's going to be any major changes there. Even Blizzard came out and said that it's still going to be on Battle.net and still be there. I think overall this is great for the series though, and it's going to be very intriguing to see what exactly Bungie does, how it affects the direction of Destiny 3, how it plays into feedback, monetization, DLC. Now, one thing that I've been seeing some people discuss is if Bungie's going to be bought out by Microsoft or Sony or even another company. I personally don't see that being the case. I don't think they're going to be bought out by anyone at the moment due to the their kind of history with publishers. As we just said, there's the whole Activision thing that started even before Destiny 1. There's probably a bunch of videos on that. You can go check out Jason Schreier's article on it. He does amazing reporting, and he's one of my favorites. But there's a lot of sort of history, a lot of kind of bad blood between them, even before the first Destiny released. And with their kind of history at Microsoft, I don't think they're going to be bought out by anyone. They clearly just want to be independent. They want to be able to do their own thing without having to be pigeonholed by any sort of publisher right now, or having to answer to any publisher right now. Now, one little bullet point that I hear is in terms of content. How is content going to be held forward? We know that ever since 2014, I believe it was, 2014 when the original Destiny came out, there's been something every year for Destiny. There's been a game, expansion, main game, expansion right now. That's sort of been the pattern. I don't know what's going to happen with the Comet. My prediction with Comet is we'll still get one each year. Maybe they'll increase it to 2, and they'll have season passes or something to kind of hold us over until then. Because I'm sure now they want to take their time. I'm sure now that they want to be able to take their time. They want to be able to make it as good as they possibly can. Hell, I think this is going to delay Destiny 3 into 2021, maybe 2021. That's when I think Destiny 3 is going to come out. I'm more in the 2021 camp myself. It was clear that Activision wanted this as a yearly series. They wanted it to be something to come out every year. They wanted it to be their next Call of Duty, so to speak. I mean, hell, they re-released Destiny 1 3 times pretty much. Well, twice technically. They released it once in 2014. They released it a second time in 2015 with the Taken King Legendary Edition. Then 2016 they released the whole Destiny collection with all the DLC bundled together, not just the Taken King. Now in Destiny 2, you're seeing the same thing. Destiny 2 came out last year, and wait, no, not last year, 2016, my bad. It came out in last year was the Forsaken Legendary Collection. So it's definitely clear to me that they wanted this. The games as a service that Destiny wants to be, and the sort of content-filled, content-driven, is kind of not really what works with an annual release. Like, it's something like Call of Duty, where you can release one every year with like a new campaign, its own multiplayer maps and all that. That is possible. But for Bungie having to be mainly the only company, with the exception of the help from Vicarious Visions and High Moon Studios on the DLC, it was definitely tough on them, I think, to being able to do games as a service with a yearly schedule. So I think that definitely caused a bit of bad blood between the two. It definitely didn't work. The other kind of question I have about Destiny 3, are they going to go digital only? And would they need to find any distributor to help out with physical copies? Now, I'm not sure how much Bungie has at the resources. I'm sure this is probably in a lot of planning, a lot of sort of in the works for a little while. I think that they were weighing the options of what they had and kind of the risks, the pros, the cons, and all that good stuff going with independent. Personally, my prediction is that I think legitimately Destiny, the next Destiny game on the PlayStation 5, on the next Xbox, I personally think that it might be digital only. It's an online only game driven by kind of content updates, so I do think that it might be online only unless they do find some sort of distributor to help them out with that. And I do hope that they are able to and if they do want to put up physical copies, I do hope that they have the resources. I do hope everything goes well for them. But I personally do see it as a digital only game the next release. I think will be digital only, with maybe the exception of some kind of collector's pack, because we've seen maybe some kind of collector's stuff, but I think they're gonna stick strictly with digital. And also the other kind of prediction that I have for Destiny 3 is that, is it going to be the only Destiny game the next generation that we have? See, when it comes to Destiny, as we kind of alluded to a couple minutes back, was the whole idea of the yearly releases, the yearly re-releases, even with as major common expansions came out. But with Destiny 3, I believe that it is going to be the last Destiny game that they'll need to put out, and they're going to take inspiration from MMOs, in that they will just continue to push out content for it and continuously update it. And when the next generation rolls around, say the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox 3, whatever they're going to call it, there is a next gen after this one, I think that they're going to take that Destiny, port it onto this one, and once the last generation consoles clearly can't handle whatever expansion is coming out or whatever content is coming out, they're going to basically cut off support, kind of like how Final Fantasy 14 did with because they recently, I think last year or the year before, they cut off PS3 support. I know that the latest expansion isn't coming to PS3. So that's my personal prediction, that it's going to be the only Destiny game for the last Destiny game for a while or ever, and they're just going to keep updating, cutting off support for the last gen consoles where needed and where exactly it feels right. Now, the other option that I kind of came up with myself was that there would be a Destiny game every generation. So, say like we stick with Destiny 3 next gen, they're just going to continuously update it until the next generation of the PlayStation 6, where they'll be able to build it from the ground up, so to speak, and go ahead and take full advantage of that next gen hardware, and then just keep updating that one, and so on and so forth. It's going to be interesting. I've definitely put my kind of money on the former. The idea that there's going to be that the next Destiny game will be the last Destiny game. They're just going to continuously update, support, add content, and all that fun stuff, change systems, and that. But I do overall think this is going to be a major step forward for the franchise, and it is nice to see that this is happening. I know I was curious when they announced that new IP with the Chinese publisher. I think it was Tencent. I was curious what exactly was going to happen with Destiny. I was under the impression that this was going to be their last Destiny game, or Destiny 2 was going to be their last Destiny game, or even maybe 3, and Activision was going to take it over, give it to one of their studios, and just continue to work on it from there. I thought it was going to become Activision's IP. I thought Bungie was going to wipe their hands clean of it, so to speak, with them being able to with them having focused on the hardcore player base with Forsaken, even more so with Black Armory, to the point where the puzzle was so damn difficult, so damn tough. They had to throw in the towel for everyone and say, okay, we'll unlock the final forge for you all. It took longer than any Destiny raid the first run through. It beat out Last Wish. It was quite a spectacle, I must say. It was quite something to see. So I think that they are going to continue down that road and carving out that kind of spot of a very in-depth game, and they're going to push for that in Destiny 3, especially now more than ever, now that they don't have to worry about the microtransactions that Activision would have said that they were going to push on them, or the kind of conflict of interest between Activision wanting a lot of players and a lot of money, and Destiny wanting to capture that hardcore kind of demographic that it kind of built itself over the past 4 or 5 years. So overall, it definitely is much more in a wait-and-see sort of position right now, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens for the franchise going forward. I think that Destiny 3 will be the last Destiny game for a good while, unless something happens. I think that is going to be the last Destiny game that they release, and they're just going to continue updating it a la Warframe or Fortnite or any of those kind of deep games as a service games like any MMO or that sort of thing. I think that it is going to be mostly hardcore. I think that it is going to be very focused on getting hardcore people in, and then kind of sort of not drip feeding exactly, but sort of trickle down player base, I guess you could call it, where you get the hardcore fans and those casual people will see all that stuff. They hopefully will go, hey, I want to do that sort of thing, and then they will become that hardcore player base. They will turn into the hardcore, rather than trying to capture a casual market that only plays the story or DLC once and then just never touches the game. They never go towards the end game. They don't grind it out. I think this is overall going to be a very big step forward for this series. I think that it is overall a good thing, even though that there will be some kind of hurdles, some questions, some concerns that even I have now, like monetization, microtransactions, how much of Destiny was Activision's fault and how much was kind of Bungie's choice themselves. So right now it is definitely going to be a wait and see thing. Maybe I'll definitely keep my eyes on it and see what exactly happens over the next year or so. But I know this is a very unscripted, kind of rambly video, but I just want to get my thoughts in there. But I do hope that you enjoyed this little kind of quick thoughts. If you would like to put your own thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And if you have any questions or kind of want to add to what I said, or even something that I wouldn't have thought of what they would do with Destiny, please feel free to put them. I always like hearing what people think, and I always like kind of actually talking and replying to, and I'll do my best to reply to comments. But I do hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that overall your weekend has been lovely, and I hope that you have an upcoming wonderful week. Thank you for listening. Bye.